Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired of the brain on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging the generations remember our story.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope all is well to everybody. Blessings to the people. Please enjoy your weekends. Let me get this out here real clear. I'm trying to share this. This phone is slow as hell. Hold up. Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators. Tonight, 8 p.m. We are back. The open mic. Looking forward to it. It's been a couple of weeks since we did one, so I'm excited. We got a couple of the new faces that's going to be popping up for the show. Sydney returning. Shout outs to everybody who has been following the last couple of weeks. I appreciate you. I'm gonna bring this up on the big screen. We're not gonna drag this out too long. Let me get this up here. Melyssa Ford, we gotta talk, ma'am. Hold up. We gotta talk because you got a lot of nerve. You asked for this. You put yourself in this position, and I need to know, how is it that you have all of this issue with Red Pill content when you subscribe to it? You volunteered to be a part of it. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, she was having a conversation. I'm going to segue into this clip. She's having a conversation about some things in regards to Red Pill with Charlemagne. And she didn't specifically say no names, but you kind of already knew what she was talking about, right? Her and Joe Budden, they went their separate ways. And I believe a lot of this had to do with the discussions that they were having. She felt as if they just hate women, and it was a lot of bashing, and it was just them targeting negative stereotypes. And she just, I don't know, she's known for playing the victim with a lot of shit. Anyways, I'm gonna play this clip, and then we're gonna proceed forward. Shout out to Anton. He's the one who clipped this particular portion right here.
Same thing, like the evil.
But why they don't ever do the positive stories? Meaning, like, because all of this, I'm not saying it's not true, because it's definitely true, but propaganda works both ways.
Mhm.
If there was a network that showed us, you know, these great men who did right by women and, you know, protected women and held women down, your perspective wouldn't lean so much to, you know, men ain't, I gotta go with the bear.
No, trust me, I place in my algorithm men that I know are, there's a guy named Will Hitchens online. There is this podcast, it's these 4 young Black boys. I can't remember what the podcast is called right now, but I mean,
you're talking about
it starts with a J.
Jamming or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, they're from Chicago, I think.
I love them. I love them because it's just, they take men and brosphere and red pillars to task. And their rhetoric is so respectful towards women, and they just have so much common sense for being so young. So I follow them. I follow Deontay Kyle. I definitely have an algorithm full of men that are, you know, that are allies to women.
I'm gonna stop it real quick. People, you know, there's nothing wrong with holding men and women accountable, right? If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. Understand something. These people that she's speaking about, are they doing it based on the notion that if I say X, Y, and Z, then it's going to bring a specific group of people over to my channel, generating positive feedback, in turn generating passive income, because these particular people like to be bragged about. They like to be held on a pedestal. They love admiration. They love being worshipped. They love being talked highly of consistently. There's a large number of men and women all across the world who use these platforms specifically to target you based on your heart's desire. You telling me that, oh, you don't know their name, but you can think about you following them because they are so positive and they're on the side of women, and they fight for women's rights and justice and all of that crap, right? Is that what you're telling me? So if a person says something about your character that is overwhelmingly accurate in the eyes of pedestrians all across the world, does that mean that they are the enemy? Does that mean that they hate women because they called you out for doing something or acting in a way that is not conducive or helpful to the environment in which you are creating? Let me finish this clip.
But I will also find myself in the comment section of certain things, and it's just, It's very polarizing, and it pulls you. And especially, I mean, I've had my own experiences of being around a certain type of a certain group of men who exhibit groupthink, and that groupthink tends to lean very misogynistically. So it has an effect on you, as somebody who's just kind of like absorbing it simply just because I'm a woman and I'm the woman in the room kind of thing. It's just
stop it right there. I'm gonna let Anton cook. But that was her sneak diss right there. This whole conversation, even though it wasn't very long, it was enough to tell you exactly who she was talking about. Miss Ford, let's go down your track record. Let's look at your history. What did you make your career off of? What was your lifestyle like? What kind of practices were you involved in? Were they positive? Were they uplifting? Did anything that you illustrate make women look any different in the eyes of society? You dressing half naked and being a video vixen and having all of these adventures at your young age. Did any of those side quests up until this point highlight the intellect, the structure, the strength? Did any of what you did leading up to 2025 prior to this woman that we're looking at now make women look like women? Or did they look like harlots? Did they look like streetwalkers? Did they look like meatless, soulless creatures with the only purpose of extracting resources out of whichever opportunity presented itself? You and your pretentiousness and this like high and mighty, I ain't never really did nothing wrong and I'm a changed woman now, so y'all can just forget about me slutting it out and being bare-assed, writing books and sleeping with all these celebrities because I had the body and I had the youth to do it, and I had the opportunities that most women would have took if they were in my position. Stop acting like you just so over and above being scolded or chastised. First of all, did you or did you not volunteer or have some type of conversation which led to you agreeing to participate in Joe Budden's show? Nobody kidnapped you. Nobody snatched you up out of your home while you were in bed and said you're gonna do this shit. And that's all I want to. I don't want to hear nothing else. You're gonna take this job. You're gonna sit here, and we're going to hate on every single woman that comes up here, and you're gonna love it and enjoy it. Nobody did that. You had some form of a relationship with every single person and personnel within that platform, and you thought to yourself, this would be a good way to maximize on my own agendas, expand my portfolio, get my content out there more, to get more visibility on myself. This was a paycheck for you. This was a moment and an opportunity for you yourself to get more exposure. Because quite frankly, the Melyssa Ford from the 2000s and 90s, this ain't the same person. You used your sex appeal for most of your life to get what you got. You got older, the well dried up, the opportunities aren't the same. Your name still means something to rappers and producers and artists because, well, you're the legendary Melyssa Ford, even though you're not really a legend for anything other than being a 304. But your name, unfortunately, carries weight that it shouldn't. You saw opportunity to get on this platform and you used it. I'm quite sure you already know these people even prior to even coming together and sitting in that studio. You knew what it was. You know what the type of conversations were going to be like. Let me let Anton cook real quick, and then I'm gonna take this off the screen and finish my thought. Hold up.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the reasons and some of the things that people have been speculating about when it comes to why Melyssa Ford decided to either leave Joe Budden's podcast, amicably split with Joe Budden's podcast, or get fired from Joe Budden's podcast. Joe Budden's podcast, though, continues on. Here she is having a conversation with Charlamagne, which I've watched a lot of this because what I try to do is I try to get the context of the full conversation so that I can give the context behind why she's saying what she's saying. And the context behind this is basically red pillars, misogynistic, enemies of women, choose the bear. If I met a stranger or the bear in the wood, I'd choose the bear. At least I didn't know the bear was trying to rape me. You know what I'm saying? So this is the narrative. And then Joe Budden obviously responded and said, there it is. And he just kept it cool. But here's the fact of the matter, right? We're acting like Melyssa Ford, first of all, does not have a reputation for being in the streets. That there's not only rumors, but claims from different people and rappers and her association, aside from her history. And we all got a history, right? We all have a past.
You know, John Wayne Gacy.
Exactly. We all have a history and a past, man. All of this misogyny shit, I don't know why y'all do that. Matter of fact, scratch that. I know why you do it. You call everything misogynistic because your behavior patterns, you want them to be acceptable. It's no different than a man having a whole past. Look, I'm going to tell you straight, men and women are both, in the eyes of the creator, on the same turf when it comes to being out here in the street. Nobody is exempt from that lifestyle. So if you wild out here, it don't matter if you are a man or a woman. So I don't want nobody to ever think that I pick sides with this stuff. Sin is sin either way on both. But for you to act like this nigga was up here throwing shots at every single woman out of pure hatred because he was hurt in his past or whatever, or you think that entire panel was just sitting there bashing women all day, well, let's ask this question then. Name me one woman that lived as close to free of accusations and drama. Name me a woman who ain't got a whole bunch of scandals on them, and Joe Budden or somebody from the red pill community spent a whole hour, 2 hours on a show negatively talking about them. You're not going to find it. You will not come across a single soul saying anything about the negative behaviors of someone who tries their best to protect their brand. protect their name. Because anybody who got self-respect for themselves, they don't put them or their loved ones in harm's way. That means you're not going to make your family look bad on social media. You're not going to be up here twerking and shaking your ass for 30,000 people every single day for clicks, likes, and views. You ain't going to have your cheeks spread open, getting banged out from the back by rappers. You're not going to be out here finessing and cheating. And women who got any type of respect for themselves, they do everything to minimize the lack of drama that they possibly can. How do you present yourself or prevent people from perceiving you to be something that you're not? You model that idea. You walk a certain way, you dress a certain way, you talk a certain way. What's going on? What's going on, brother? What's the word? What's the word? Women who love God, who have a high self-esteem, they understand sin. They understand how you carry yourself matters. It matters to the people you do business with. It matters to the man that you want to marry. It matters to your family. It matters to your friends. How you carry yourself is your brand. So if a man shoots and kills somebody, it's going to get discussed. If a man raped somebody, it's going to get discussed. He's going to get ripped to shreds. Jordan P, what's going on? What's going on? If you are you put it this way, I don't like the man versus woman stuff. Let's just strip it. If you are a man, woman, or child who operate in any way in a negative light that makes your loved ones look bad, or it causes irreparable damages to you or anyone attached to you, you're most likely going to have some type of negative responses to it. What's going on? What's going on? Appreciate you for tapping in with me. Melyssa Ford, I will concede to this part. There are misogynists out here. There are misandrists out here. There are women out here that hate men. There are men out here that hate women. We can already agree with that. What I don't like with this is this notion that you unknowingly signed up to be a part of a show expecting these people to talk about certain things the way that you wanted them to, and then when it didn't go how you expected, oh, I can't believe that you're talking like this to me. I can't believe that you're saying this about women. But you've known Joe Budden for years. You've known most of them people for years. Maybe some of them are new to you, but you're not you're not without guilt here or accountability. You knew exactly what you were signing up for. You saw that paycheck. You knew you were going to be the only woman on there. Matter of fact, I would go as far as to say, because you knew you were the only woman on there, that made it more likely that you would be the center of attention. Oh, it would be a good idea if we had one woman on here with a bunch of men, and she would be the one to defend all women. And because it's Melyssa Ford, that would absolutely bring more traction to our product. it was lucrative on your end and it was lucrative on his. Until you got tired. You got tired of being called out. You got tired of being challenged. You got tired of being ganged up on. Period. You already knew what you was getting into. So for you to even come out of your mouth and say, oh, they're misandrous, and you listen to a bunch of people who love women and they champion. Everybody on this planet love women. You can love people and still hold them accountable, my nigga. You don't love somebody if you can't tell them the truth. There's no way in the world you're going to tell me you're my friend or you support me and you trust in me when you can't even tell the truth. It's like, all right, I don't like. I understand the point of it, but the way that it's being applied is very childish. It is. What this really boils down to is telling the truth and being lied to, or telling lies, right? The whole purpose of red pill, blue pill, all that, the only purpose about it is to wake men and women up. I made a short on it. It's not about destroying someone's character. Red pill, blue pill, whatever. None of that stuff is about destroying someone or embarrassing someone. It's not about humiliating a man or a woman. Social media made it that way. People with egos and are sensitive make it that way. What it's really about is telling people the truth. You're being used. This is why you're being used. Learn how to communicate better, or they're going to do this, or they're going to. It's about wakening somebody up from a veil that's been put over their eyes to make them believe that it's something that it really isn't. Men and women get involved with each other when they know that they should not be dealing with that person. One person might be more in like with the person than the other person, or somebody is only there for the money, or somebody is only there for the sex. The conversation itself is about using better discernment. That's all it is. It's all about using better discernment and holding yourself and everybody around you accountable for the way that you treat people and how you treat yourself, period. The red pill conversation just got hot because of the Matrix, and everybody has ran with it and turned it into its own monster. Like the red pill conversation is a beast of its own now. It has its own legs. All this is really about is telling men how to be aware of men and women who mean you no well. It's about telling women, look, beware of this type of guy. Beware of this type of woman. Why aren't you holding them accountable? Why aren't you holding yourself accountable? Fellas, why aren't you holding yourself accountable? Why aren't you holding? It's all it is about telling people the truth. So, Melyssa Ford, you signed up for the show. You got paid very nice. I'm pretty sure you did, because you stayed there for a significant amount of time. You did. I've watched a few of your segments. I've done a few responses to some things that you've said up there, and you like to play the victim. You do. And I get it. It's something unflattering about putting a flashlight on all of your stuff. But in order for people to learn from their mistakes, they have to be highlighted so that you don't repeat the same cycles over and over and over again. You mishandled your opportunity. You did. And I want to say something to Joe Budden. I highly doubt you see this video or this stream, but I want to address him in the panel. I like what y'all do over there. I ain't mad at it, but I will say this. You had the wrong woman on that show. You did. Why? Because there are women out here that will tell the unbridled truth. They're not pick-me's. They're not trying to fit into the sister code. They're not biased. They are just neutral and fair. And they'll even admit that they lived a certain way that wasn't cool either. There are women out here that actually love God, that aren't corrupted. There are actually women out here that will hold other women accountable. I see it all the time on social media. Call it out all day. And then when you get in the comment section, you got angry women saying, "Oh, you a traitor. You just want a man. You just want to be a slave to a man." Y'all, like, you can't have biased and emotional people representing another group of people. The only thing that Melyssa Ford did was expose further on there are just people out here like her that no matter how much truth you give or you speak on, they will always try to deflect, play the victim, and blame everybody else. But we all have made our own decisions and choices in life. We've all stumbled and strayed and sinned. We've all done something that wasn't pleasing in the sight of the Lord. We've all done something that was reckless. Why are you sitting up here trying to minimize your part? How can you, at your age, still be up here trying to deflect? This shit is crazy, man. I don't understand it. If you're gonna have public speakers, if you're gonna have anybody sitting up here giving any type of advice, or if you're gonna have these conversations, let them be honest, let them be transparent, let them just be raw and authentic. But to even try to maneuver around having a certain type of lifestyle that never happened is crazy. You know, the part about this that tripped me out is you want to work with people that you have a connection with. So I understand that part. Like this, I don't know, that shit is wild to me. You should not be giving anybody any advice. Charlemagne, I didn't see that entire interview, so I don't know what type of feedback you gave her. But listening to that clip, all I know is two things. One, social media politics are a real thing. Two, some people just should not be trying to give life coaching whatsoever. When I'm listening to you up there on Joe Budden's podcast, man, you'll concede to some points, and then as you're conceding to the points, you'll try to retract your statement, insert but, as if, what does but have to do with what is fact? What is fact is what is fact. This happened. Whoever you and them gentlemen were discussing at that particular moment, they indeed did what they did, allegedly or actual. But see, you try to, you don't want to dig and really kind of crap on the sisterhood, so you try to backslide from what you be saying and defend them while also trying to, you tried to be here, you'll go here and then you'll come back here and then you'll go there. You're trying to play on both sides of it. You can't. It has to be one way or the other. Period. So nah, that was a dig at them. I know you were digging at them. I know actually you're digging at all of them. Anybody who speaks about these type of subjects, you're taking a dig at. And the only reason why you claim that these younger group of men are the heroes, the only reason you say that is because they don't hold you accountable. They allow you to forget that you was out here in the street. They allow you to move on with your life. And I'm speaking about a specific group in general. Folks that don't really call you out for being a liar, a manipulator, a gold digger, whatever else you want to apply to this. You like men who they just straight kiss ass. All they do is kiss ass. All they do is tell you that you're beautiful and that you're the best thing that ever happened to humankind. That's what you want. That's all you want to hear. You want to be worshipped. You want people to, you want them bowing at your feet every single day. But you don't respect them. You don't. You can't. Because you know when the cameras are off, well, you know what type of human you are. You know you like to suck on multiple penises. You like to get trains ran on you. You are one of those folks that if they knew what type of freak you was, it'd be over. So I can't stand the grifting stuff. I can't. You ain't no better than he is. If Joe Budden is such a misandrist, if the people that were on that show and the men that you're speaking on were so hateful of these women that you speak of, how did you end up getting the career that you got? Y'all use these words way too loosely. You don't even know the definition of it. And on top of that, you might know the definition of it, but you're not even applying that properly. Congratulations. You make yourself look dumb when you get on that camera. I don't know how or why he thought it would be such a good idea to use you to represent women. He could have had anybody up there. Anybody. But he's still doing him. That's not going to stop his flow. You going on a media run, and I'm sure that we're going to see more of you. I wouldn't be surprised if you branched off and started your own show. That's going to be fucking hilarious. I already know how that format would go. It's just like when Brittany Renner tried that shit. Brittany Renner tried to team up with Just Pearly. But Brittany Renner didn't realize that Just Pearly is a grifter too. You thought Just Pearly was going to be on the show with the Brittany Renner, knowing that you basically said this is a book on how to finesse NBA players and athletes because they're dumb. Did you think that white woman who spends and dedicates most of her time sucking up to men for validation, you thought she was not going to take the opportunity to come at you and expose you or exploit you and capitalize off of your name? Hard for me to believe that you're a different person. You older, but you still got that toxic ass mindset. I know you do. I know you do. You still expect to get a specific type. I'm not even going to go there. Let's just put it like this. They are grifters. There are misandrists. There are men who hate women. There are women who hate men. Let's not confuse this side with this side. There are people, when they speak, they're speaking with the intentions on plucking the negative roots out of you so that you can become a better version of yourself. But there's going to be some pain that comes with that. It's not going to be comfortable, and that's what people don't like. They don't like being in that uncomfortability. There's hundreds and thousands of women that's going to be in your same shoes. Vivica Fox is one of them. Matter of fact, she's older than you, so you're basically following in her footsteps. In reality, Vivica Fox did it. You're doing it, or you did it. She's just older, and she spends most of her life dedicated to crying over 50 Cent. Now you at an age where you're crying about bullshit. And there's a long list of them that's up there in age that's doing the exact same thing because you wanted to live a certain way when you were younger. Social media documents it all, and you can't escape it. And now that men and women who are unbiased have a voice and a space where they can share their thoughts about these things, now that it's being more openly available, to folks that are lost and confused about life and they don't know how to deal with the opposite gender in certain areas. You don't like it. So you call it hate. You call it misandry. You call it just stop. Every one of us are here for a reason. We've positioned ourselves right now where we are because of the choices that we made in life. Nobody else. The conversations have to be had. Why wouldn't you want somebody younger than you to know what not to do and what to do? Every single celebrity, they understand. If you didn't want this attention, then you should have chose a different field of work. If you didn't want the negative feedback, maybe you should have moved differently with your youth and your body and the way that you talk to people and your relationships. But I digress. Be careful with who you listen to. That's the message. Melyssa Ford, you just can't be 100% honest without attaching buts to it. You can't say you want truth and you want honesty and you want all of these different things, but you contradict yourself 24 hours a day. It's not going to work. You're just going to end up looking foolish at the end of it all. So Melyssa Ford did an interview with Charlamagne. And she basically said that the people that she worked with were misandrous. She didn't name drop nobody, but we know she was talking about them. She's not working with them anymore. She basically said that REDPILL content and creators are misandrous. She was directly speaking about them, but she did it in a way where it was so politically correct that only if you watched, unless you didn't watch the show, you wouldn't have known she was talking about them. She was talking about them. So she basically said they were misandrous, they hate women, and I challenge all that. I challenge all that. You're catching like the later portion of the stream, but I challenge all that. I really believe that, and these are my closing remarks. I truly believe she knew what she was getting into when she signed up for that show. She has a relationship with Joe Budden personally, off camera. She knows his personality. She knows what type of content he produces. She's followed the show. She didn't go into that ignorant. She did her research. She knew and took the opportunity that was given to her. It was a paycheck. And it was a way for her to get more exposure on herself because she's not relevant anymore. So she was getting something out of the deal as well. The problem came when it got to a point she just got tired of trying to defend women, and she got tired of the conversations that always would highlight negative attributes of women, even though Joe Budden's podcast wasn't and isn't solely about women. They talk about sports, they talk about music, they talk about everything up there. She just didn't like what was continuously happening. And then she decided between the two, I don't know how they parted ways. They parted ways, and she's now going on her own little media run, expressing her disdain towards a specific group of content that really is not designed to be manipulated the way that they're manipulating it. There are people who are using red pill content for their own nefarious reasons. But the way that she's trying to highlight it, I had to set the record straight. Red pill, all that stuff is not about bashing men and women. It's not. And I think a lot of people got that mistaken. So unless she speaks out again at some point addressing something else, that was pretty much what this was about. You 45, 46 years old, getting on these cameras, putting out all of these lies based on your feelings instead of being raw and honest. I could pull up clips of women that are way younger than her that have more wisdom than she does, and they're more honest about what the reality is. She's just like Superhead, just as bad as Superhead is. I don't want to hear it. If you can't be fair and neutral, I don't want to hear it. All men are not hateful. All women are not hateful. All women are not hoes. We know that. But a lot of them are. So don't try to act like they aren't. Now that you have these spaces where we discuss this stuff, instead of being so bitter or angry about it or resentful about it, you should want these conversations, especially if it don't apply to you. It shouldn't bother you, whatever. But I digress. Shout out to everybody who pulled up this morning. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Whether or not we agree or disagree, I'm okay with that. I'm just giving my point of view. She got to chill. She really got to chill. Especially if you're trying to influence people. Make sure you're giving out the right messages. Tonight at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, the Attic open mic is back. So we about to get back to this good old spoken word. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. I want to say thank you again for tapping in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Just in case I don't get to chop it up with you later on. But if I do, come through, get you something to snack on, get you something to drink, get cozy, come through, enjoy some spoken. It's going to be a pretty dope show. And yeah, I will see you guys later.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't friend on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed, begging that forever.